Hello everyone, this is actually going to be a little bit different this time around because unfortunately I don't have time to be able to actually record this live for you guys on Saturday, so I'm actually doing a pre-recording today, so hopefully that's okay. Basically I'll be uploading it to YouTube as well, but essentially the main point is obviously I'll also have this available on my Twitch stream still at 8 PM, but obviously pre-recording. So hello to those that happen to actually tune in right now. Secrets out. A little bit different as well. I wanted to do a different layout and everything like that as well, so we can actually work on, you know, we're essentially seeing what we're doing and seeing how I do stuff. So now you've got my inputs. You can see down the bottom here, moving around my joystick. And it's a little bit of a different camera angle and movement, but it still obviously tries to give you as much information as possible. Now, I wanted to talk actually about two different things today, and one of them is with the help of one of my friends, Myukiora, aka Dylan. He's a new member of the Australian Tekken community. He's only recently started picking up Tekken after Tekken 7 came out. And he's wanting to learn a little bit more about the game, obviously help get some assistance. So if you guys can help him out as much as possible, that would be fantastic. But for myself, I'll actually be reviewing one of his videos that he's actually sent me or linked me last night, which has him against Boyd, or aka Breathe, from the Team Solid group here in Brisbane. They had an online match, and he wanted to get some tips or essentially just a bit of an analysis of his video as well. So I'll be doing that a little bit later. But the first thing that I wanted to do, because we have all of these qualifiers coming up, I know actually this today you probably would have already had it, is the Melbourne or the not Melbourne but Victorian qualifier for the IeSF Grand Finals in Sydney, held on the, I believe it's the 26th of July. So you guys are doing it a little bit early, but that's okay, because obviously the earlier the better, because then you know who is actually going to be there and they can train. You guys can help them train and get them as good as possible. Now obviously it's a little bit late for you guys, because I'm trying to teach you guys how, or I want to teach you guys how to warm up or get better at essentially reactions, and you know, not trying to break some bad habits that you might have. Just confirming, it is the 26th of July that the Grand Finals is on. 26th of July in Sydney. The winners of the Melbourne Victorian qualifier will be flown out to Sydney. Same with Queensland and same with Western Australia. So all of those people, whoever happens to win each of those qualifiers, will all meet in Sydney for the Grand Finals and battle it out to find out who actually gets to fly out to Kaohsiung City or something, Chinese Taipei. Sorry, I'm not very good. But I wanted to actually try and help those that aren't obviously qualifying yet, but want to actually get better. I want to try and help you guys learn how to set yourself up for the best success. So if you walk into a match cold, now when I say cold, I mean like your hands are cold, you have your hands are stiff, it's hard to move and stuff. There's a couple of different ways that I like actually learning how to warm up, and one of these things is obviously just jumping straight into a practice mode. So if you get to the venue early, or the day before, or even as leading up to the tournament, what you want to do is try and improve your own reactions, improve your own I guess ability to break some of these bad habits and prevent yourself from ducking accidentally, or choosing to, or not blocking a low that's easily seeable, such as Brian's Snake Edge or Dragon Knowles down back 3. Not necessarily the easiest, but it is once you actually get used to it. Now, one thing that I actually found really good is each day that you sort of lead up to the tournament, even the week leading towards it, jump into practice mode. Now, on the day of the tournament, it's always great to have warm-up matches, play some casuals with people beforehand, and just use a character that helps you move your hands around. So, you know, just helping your hands like sort of stretch out and everything. But one of the main things that I like doing is actually choosing a Mishima of some sort. And then when you choose a Mishima, you can actually then go ahead and like practice movement, backdashing, wave dashing, things like that, because that helps your hands get used to the actual movement as it's supposed to be, right? So we'll go ahead and do that, and I'll show you what I mean by that in case it doesn't make sense to you. This will be the first thing that I would probably do if I was jumping into like a casual match or something like that. So we'll jump in, we'll have a look at what I would normally do. Now, I may not be the best at execution, but what I do like doing is making sure that you can see your own inputs, so you can try and make sure that you're not doing one of these ones, right? Where it's sort of really inaccurate, if that makes sense. So what I like doing is actually making sure that I'm slowing down to start off with. And if you're not very good at backdashing or not very good at wave dashing, slowing down is the best way to start. So hold back, down back into this. Do it really slow. Do it really slow. Get used to it. Get used to it. If you're new to Tekken, doing this really slow is a great way to ensure that you're actually getting it correct. Move forward again. And slowly get faster as time goes on. You'll get used to actually doing the motion, and then eventually you'll be able to do it faster and faster. Much smoother. And it'll make it a lot easier for you to be able to backdash. But the idea is you have to get used to it, right? And you have to warm up. So doing one of these ones, even at the start of like a match, is just to, not an actual match, but like in a casual match, just running in, doing some backdashes, just to get used to it on one side to start off with, right? Your preferred side is probably where you want to warm up because you'll feel confident doing it. Same thing on the opposite hand. You want to try and do some wave dashes as well, because a wave dash on P1 is the same as a backdash on P2, or similar to a backdash on P2, and then a wave dash on P2 is similar to a backdash on P1, albeit you don't need to use the down. Now, I'm not very good at backdashing on P2 or wave dashing on P1, as you can tell. What happens is you can actually see my inputs are actually going like I'm doing the full quarter circle forward motion. Now, it's actually really good to get used to that, because in P2, that's how I would prefer to do a backdash, but it also gets you caught out. So this is one way to sort of warm up your hand, your movement hand. Yeah, essentially doing some backdashes and some wave dashes. Again, you can do some electric side steps, things like this, to allow yourself to get used to moving. And doing this for maybe a minute or two, maybe up to about 5 minutes, just to sort of get used to the movement, get used to being able to move when you need to, right? And then, you know, you can get used to pressing buttons, make sure you're doing the correct motions as you need to, right? Get used to it, because if you can get used to it, what'll happen is you actually you can do it better in a game, right? This is what I would recommend doing to start off with, right? Practicing maybe a couple of combos, some higher execution combos if you play a higher execution character. So, being able to do something like that, or CDM combo. Just making sure that you're not messing up your execution. Because if you're messing up your execution, what'll happen is you may mess up during the game. And if you mess up during the game, obviously that's going to take away a lot of the damage that you actually have. So you want to do your best to practice your combos until you get used to them. Because if you practice your combos, then you're not going to drop them in game. And that'll guarantee you at least a little bit of damage in the actual game itself. As you can see, I'm dropping combos, so if I was to play Jin in a game, I would probably drop a lot of these combos, because I'm not very good at doing these combos consistently, right? Now, you then, once you get used to doing P1 side, you then move on to P2 side, right? You gotta get used to... Now, you can see that I'm actually doing the backdashing motion because I'm used to that, which isn't the wave dash motion for Jin. Wave dash motion for Jin requires the down dash. So, again, you slowly get used to it. Once you get used to it, you start doing your combos. Now, this is one decent way. I'm not going to say it's the best way, but it's a good way to help you get used to actually doing the motions, doing the movements, so it becomes natural. And when something becomes natural, it makes it a lot easier for you to actually do in game. Do some interesting combos as well. What's the combo? I didn't even know that worked. That's sick. It's not a very good combo. But it is one of these things where you sort of get used to being able to do these motions. And then in the game, you're not going to drop these motions as much as normal, right? You'll be able to do dashes and everything like that. So that's one way to do it. And then again, you get used to backdashing on P2 to allow yourself to get used to, you know, the motions as you need to. Because if you can do a lot of these motions, then in game, you're going to be able to do them smoothly. Or at least, you know, you're preventing yourself from messing up as throughout the game. You're doing your best to sort of ensure that your mechanical skills and your practice sort of pays off, right? So that's one thing. That's one thing that you want to do. The other thing is when it comes to actually like building up your reactions. Now, reactions are actually a huge thing in this game. Knowing when to duck, knowing when to sidestep, things like that are a huge, I guess, mindset that you need to be in. You need to be ready for all that. Now, one way you can do it, and the reason that I chose Heihachi is because you've got a couple of things that you can do. Now, in order to like get used to sidestepping, a couple of the things that you can do, and this is one of the exercises that I like doing, is you record, dash, back 4, right? Dash and then back 4. That gives you that mid kick, right? The other one is dash and then electric. So, jab and then electric, rather. So, jab, electric, right? Those are two things that I like doing. And then the last one, jab and then forward 3. Now, the reason I go jab and then forward 3 is because then you can actually react to what the next move is, right? So, jab, forward 3. Okay, cool. So now you have 3 different options. You've got a mid that tracks, which will ensure that you sidestep block properly. You've got a mid that is essentially able to be sidestep left. You have a high that is also able to be sidestep left. Now, you need to... I would recommend, now this is just my personal opinion, but I would recommend not ducking when somebody is wave dashing towards you, because, I mean, unless you can see a hard read and be able to duck their hell sweep or block their hell sweep, you might get hit with a launching mid or something like that, and if your reactions aren't fast enough, you might end up losing a lot of life for it. So now you'll see what I'm actually going to be doing is I'm going to be learning how to properly sidestep block, and the idea of sidestep blocking is to sidestep and then hold back, right? So if you sidestep, hold back, react to what the opponent is doing, what'll happen is you can then potentially launch them. You might be able to get a couple of hits in, just a free bit of damage to give yourself a bit more edge on the opponent. And obviously if you start doing that and whittling their life down, the better it's going to be for you, because you're going to put them under more pressure, they're going to make more mistakes. So this is one way that you can do it. As again, this is part of a warm-up, so getting used to being able to do this in game, so sort of recognizing the options that the opponent has and then doing it. So I'll go into this a little bit later in another episode, but this is what you can do as a warm-up. So you do those 3 options, so jab, electric, jab, forward 3, jab, back 4, right? Turn it on. Let's step late, so jab, side step low. Jab, side step low, right? You do this a couple of times, and what should happen is you should be able to see sometimes you'll cause a whiff if you do it correctly, because you'll step at the right time, and you'll also step enough to actually cause a whiff. You get a free hit. That wasn't a free hit. Not a free hit. But you'll see, this way at least, if you step it, you'll notice it's a punish. Not a punish. So this is one way to get used to being able to step and then punish as necessary. But the idea is you need to make sure that you press back. Because if you don't press back, what will happen is you can potentially get hit by something like a down forward, like the back four. So it's definitely one way that you can do it. Now, obviously that's not the best example. It's one of the things that you can actually learn how to do over time. But as you get better and better, your execution will get better and better as well. Now, the other thing that you can do is actually go through and do this other thing, which is one of the Tekken community's knowledgeable players, Alchemist, has sort of coined this, or at least mentioned it to Joel at one stage, and it got through some of the ranks, and it actually made a lot of sense in terms of being able to sort of build up your own reactions. And this is one thing that I like doing as well, and I would recommend that if you're there before anyone else at a tournament or anything like that, and you don't have anyone to verse, and you're just wanting to try and get better at your own reactions to warm yourself up, what you want to do is set Miguel. You've got 5 different options, right? Now this will essentially ensure that you're not ducking when you're not supposed to. You're not what other things? You're able to break grabs. And you are ducking when you see a mid-high, and you're also learning to block lows. Now, this stage probably isn't the best for it, so give me a sec. I'll move it into a lighter stage just so it's a little bit easier. Okay.
Get ready for the next battle.
So again, choose Miguel as your opponent. Choose whatever character you feel like playing as your particular character as a good warm-up. Again, you could probably do this with both Jin, Devil Jin, or anything like that. Again, you start off getting used to the backdashes and stuff, but then what you do is when you actually go into these things, you can actually just choose moves. A couple of things that you want to do is where is it? Down forward 1-2. Down forward 1-2. Okay. The other one is 1-2. No, sorry, 2-1. 2-1. Gancho double. Okay. Or is it double? I don't know. Down forward 1-2. Down forward 4-1. This is a move that you can duck as well. The other thing that you want to do as well is do down back 1, which is Tortura, I think it is called. Look it up here. And then your final thing, in order to make sure that you're getting used to breaking grabs as well, and recognizing a double grab, the generic double grabs for most people, is the Exciter, which is Miguel's 1+2. Now, to start off, if your reactions aren't very good, set this to long, okay? Set that to long. And you can see, you'll be able to start that to long. Then you hit play. Now what you want to do is you want to warm up and get used to being able to block and try and get a success rate, of a decent, you want to get a decent consistency of your success rate. So come this on, you can see that was a mid-high, so you could probably duck that. So you duck that, you get used to it. Notice how the thing is longer, so you can actually duck it, and then you've got time to react to each of the moves. So you see the down back 1, you duck it. You duck the down forward 4-1, right? Be able to get used to that. Because if you can duck the down forward 4-1, then you'll get used to ducking other moves in the game. Down back 1, see if you hold down back there like I did, it causes you to get hit. And you don't want that. You want to try. This is one way that you can break those habits. Only ducking when you know that there's only one option afterwards, right? Can't duck that. Fails. Can't duck that because there's a mid afterwards. So you should only be ducking then, right? And this is one way that you can sort of get used to being able to using your reactions to get better, right? Do this for a good 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, and ensure that you're not getting hit. Make sure that you're ducking the high, that particular high. So ducking and then punishing that high, and then. So you start doing this. You do this for maybe 4 or 5 minutes, getting used to being able to see the grabs and making sure you're not ducking when you're not supposed to. Okay, this is one way that you can do it to start off with. If you're not very, if you're pretty new to the game, or you're sort of just getting used to being able to duck different things, or you're learning when to duck and learning how to block lows. That's one way. After that, you know how I said start it on long, because there's a bit of a longer interval. Change this to normal. Now doing that, you'll actually notice that the moves come out a lot faster. Down like one, that. See, there's still a bit of a delay, but now it's a little bit faster. Now you have to react faster to these things, and that's one of the things that make it a good training exercise, because you got to improve your reaction speed, right? Holding down for that, being able to block the low. Miguel's low being a good one, because it's slow enough to react to, but it's also a little bit hard to see, and it's one of the slightly faster ones. You can also do it with Dragunov's down back 3 as well. So you start doing this, you improve yourself going into the normal range, and then again, eventually you move into the short range. Now the short range is actually quite hard, because it's almost instantaneous that the things come out. So this is, say you've got an opponent that's just pressing a lot of buttons, or trying to do a lot of stuff. You can see that the things get a lot harder. It becomes a lot faster. It's difficult to actually see and break and do a lot of these things, because you get hit by one, you sort of lose focus and not be able to do that again afterwards. And this is a good way to sort of start it. Now, I talked about it last week with Rec, actually. It was about timing. Now, timing is where you might change the interval in between each of your moves, and that actually causes the opponent to duck at the wrong time, or chooses to block at the wrong time, or step at the wrong time, or something like that, and that allows you to get into your opponent's thing. This is where the random option comes in. Now, the random option is actually very good, because you can go ahead, hit random, hit play, and you'll notice that there might be a really long interval. So you're not expecting a move to come out, right? So this is where the actual timing comes in, and you have to actually learn to get better. Again, this is one of those things where you progress over time. You don't want to do this all at once, but I'm just showing you, depending on your level of skill, you can effectively get to that point where you can do the random option and be able to successfully do most of them, right? Or successfully pass most of them. And by doing that, you get better and better at reacting. So you'll actually notice that you'll be able to block a lot more lows, you'll be able to duck a lot more highs, and if you need to, you'll be able to punish. That's not a punish, right? So you go, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm just trying to press buttons. Oh man, that was nuts. So you just try and far out, man, this is hard. And once you get better and better at that, right? Once you get used to doing that, create a game out of it. Now, you can actually do this before you jump on an online ranked set. You can do this before you go into like a death match, or first to 5, or first to 10, or even one of your tournament matches at the start of your day, just so you get used to the actual idea of moving and preventing all of this, is by chucking onto normal. Now, I'd recommend normal, not random, unless you want to increase the difficulty. Start on normal. You've got these 5 options, right? So you've got 2-1, down forward 1-2, down forward 4-1, the down forward 1+2, which is his grab, and you also have down back 1 to draw, which is the low. Now, you've got 5 options. What you want to do is create a mental sheet. Now, this is Alchemist's game, and I'm going to coin it as that, and we'll call it Alchemist's game from now on. Where you actually try and get to an arbitrary number, say 30. Now, in order to get to 30, each successful action that you do, so say you duck down forward 4-1, or you block 2-1, or down forward 1-2, you block both of those. What you can do is create a point system. So the way that I do it personally is I go 1 point every time that I successfully block something, and then if I fail at something, say I duck the down forward 1-2, or I don't duck the down forward 4-1, or I get hit by the lower, I don't break the grab, any of those, what'll happen is I'll actually minus 2 points. So for example, if I chuck this in here, so I'll counter myself. That's 1, okay? I'm minus 2, so I'm minus 1 at the moment. Now I'm at 0. That's 1. That's 2. That's a 3. It's a 4. It's a 5, right? It's a 6. 7. 8. I'll say to try and get to 10 this time. 9. And say I accidentally duck that. I'll go down to 7. I'll go back up to 8, and then I block that. That's 9, and then say I don't break that, and I go back to 8, or I get hit by that, and then that's like I'm now down at 6, right? So create this game. Try to keep a mental note of obviously where you are at, and try to reach 10, or try to reach 20, or try to reach 30. Now, doing this may not be, the most complex thing. It just takes a bit of time. And the better and better your reactions get, the faster you'll hit 30. So then you can increase the difficulty by changing it from normal to random, right? Or you can change it from normal to short if you wanted to just increase the number of decisions that you have to make instead of having to try and see somebody's timing. So that's one way that you can do it, and I think that's actually a really, really good game, and I appreciate Alchemist's input on that because it was actually really fantastic to actually get that idea and try and run with it. And I've actually been able to improve and get to the point where I'm actually consistently improving that. Now, that obviously everyone has their own warm-up techniques. Everyone can choose a Mishima and then get better at wave dashing. If they're not very good at wave dashing because they never played a Mishima before, then that's fine. You don't have to use a Mishima. All you need to do is go and choose any of your characters, or your main character if you want, and then just do back dashes, front dashes, and stuff like that. You'll see, Claudio at the moment, right? Character, and then I'll choose, let's go Tekken 4Gen. To a Tekken 4Gen. So we choose an infinite stage, right? Choose an infinite stage, and then from here you essentially go through and try and so from here you just practice backdashing. Ensure that you get form by backdashing. As I said, it's the first technique that I gave. If you're not very good at wave dashing, practice backdashing. Move to your opposite side. Get up. Practice backdashing. Get used to being able to do it on both sides, because if you're only good on one side, what'll happen is your opponent will put you onto the other side and you'll end up messing up and not knowing how to do your combos. So make sure you practice your combos on both sides. Every time. Never practice on one side. Spend half an hour on one side, half an hour on the other if you're playing an hour in Tekken. Or say you play 3 matches, right? Every 3 matches you exit and you change to the other side. Or every deathmatch that you have in ranked, you go, once you lose your deathmatch, so if you promote or demote, you swap sides. You go to the other side. And get used to it. Get better at it. Because if you can get better at it, become consistent, you'll be able to be consistent with all of your combos, and essentially you'll be able to successfully beat your opponents with a lot less effort than having to worry about your combos. And worrying about your combos is the worst thing, because if you continue to worry about your combos, then you're going to lose out on a lot of damage, because you're going to try and go for flashy combos, you're going to try and do these extra bits and pieces. That's going to prevent you from being successful, okay? So, plenty of different techniques. As I said, jump on to P1 or P2, whatever your preferred side is, start off there, warm up, get used to it, and then move on, okay? And then you can obviously use that other game that Alchemist's game, where you try and reach a number while you've set Miguel to those different options, because that'll actually allow you to improve your own skills and improve when you can see lows or how you can see lows, and get used to not ducking when you're not supposed to. So if you see other characters down for 3-2, instead of ducking that unless the person is doing like a pattern, you'll just continue to block it, because if you choose to duck, you get hit by the downfall of 3-1, Claudio, right? It applies to a lot of different characters, and it's a great way to sort of warm yourself up and get used to knowing that your the opposite character or your opponent is going to be ducking, or is going to be doing a duckable high, so you should duck. Rather than going, I think they're going to be doing one, if it's a 50-50 mix-up, I'm going to still duck and then get hit. Maybe you'll make the right guess, maybe you won't. That's obviously one thing that you want to watch out for, but that's 100% I would recommend doing it for anyone that's actually warming up on Tekken and warming up on how to do things. Now, I'm actually going to move out of this, and we'll move into, let's have a look. So we're actually going to be seeing if I can play a VOD. Now this is a video that Dylan has given me, or Myukiora has given me, and we're going to review it and basically go from there and figure out how he can improve. Now, I've actually never seen this video whatsoever. He literally recorded it last night, and I'm looking forward to reviewing and seeing if I can figure out what's going on. Where did I save it? I'm just going to quickly desktop. Boy, you do that. Aha! Wait, what? Why did you work now? It hasn't been working for the past weeks, so I don't understand. Okay, that's fine. Well, that's fine. No worries. No problemo. Let's have a look. Downloads. 9th of June? No, that's not. Demo. Ah, this one. Okay. Open up VLC. Again, I've never seen this video in my life, so we're gonna be checking it out, seeing how it goes. Okay. Hopefully the quality is okay. Go from here. Ooh. Oh wait, did I hit yes? Okay. So let's skip through this. This looks to be, I don't know how long this video. Can I not speed through it? Oh, mate. High quality. Okay, cool. Cool. Looks like he's playing Jin to start off with. I don't know how long this... Oh, wait, actually, I've got it. Got it right here. What am I doing? Properties. It's 7 gigabytes. Pretty decent. Looks like it's about a 20-minute file. So let's review, and let's review together. We want to try and help Dylan Myukiora get, I guess, figure out how he's going to actually get better at this. Look like it's allowing me to speed this up. Let me just do this another way. Play directly from the file. Go like this. Now, Dylan mentioned to me that he actually recorded this while eating and stuff, so you might hear him talking in the background and stuff, but we'll try to minimize a lot of that. Appreciate it. Yeah, this I probably should have attempted to play this before I actually started doing this review. Let's just do it this way. annoying that I can't click through it. I don't know why. Maybe because it's such a large file. Speed, okay. Yeah, it doesn't actually tell me the length of time that this video is, but hopefully we'll get something that is usable. Damn it. So, but okay, cool. Here, gotta concentrate versus Sad Boyd. Vanquisher. Now, Boyd appears to have gotten the. Oh boy, this is. Oh wait, no, it's because I've got on speed. Hold on. Normal. Okay, here we go. That's a lot better. Now let's have a look. Let me turn this up. He's got some sound. Okay. So having a look, this is Jin versus Brian, which is a good sort of matchup for Jin, but also a pretty good matchup for Brian because Boyd actually has a lot more experience overall, right? Now, let's see here that Dylan's sort of... Oh, that was a good punish.
Oh, scuffed.
He's... I'm going to turn that down. He's... He... Obviously, because he's fairly new, he's obviously struggling with some of his execution, so a lot of the things that I was talking about before might help him, being able to practice those combos and get used to them when they're in the combo. Boyd seems to be taking out pretty quickly.
Oof.
That's fine. So, in that scenario, it's difficult to sort of comment on what he was doing because that was a pretty straightforward match. It was very one-sided. Boyd was doing a lot of stuff, but if we actually go back in that match, is he going to rematch? Is he rematching? Go back a little. Go back to round 1. Okay. Whoop. Off. And should have prepared this earlier. Wanted to do a live viewing of this. Both learn together. Sorry about the shoddy quality. But we'll do our best. We'll do our best. Here we go. Starting it. Now, let's have a look. Getting used to movement. It looks like he's not very warm at this point. This probably is his first match. Boyd is clearly quite used to the game. He's getting used to backdashing. He's Myukiora trying to figure out his own space, as you can see. That was a really nice wave dash into while standing 4. Down back 4 to sort of like keep him out, but also Brian's got his 3+4, which is a great keep out move. Good counter hit launches. Looks like Myukiora doesn't really know punishes yet, but as I said, obviously he's quite new to the game, so it does make it a bit difficult for him to punish. He's got some of his execution down, as you can see. His dragon stance into forward 2. Could have won that. Unfortunately, missed it. But it looks like that was a bit faster. So it looks like in that particular match there could have been some opportunities for him had his execution been good. Now in this scenario you can see that he doesn't duck the high, and so he doesn't know the punishes. That was quite good, but his reactions were a little bit slow. So this is where that warm up would come in handy, because you can down forward 1-2 is good for punishing. So you can get used to seeing a move, understanding when it's supposed to finish, and then being able to press a button afterwards to punish it. In this case, now you can see Myukiora trying to figure out, I guess, the spacing for Brian. He's now up in his face, and he's trying something new, but it's a lot harder. So he's using down back 4 as a keep out tool to try and prevent Boyd from coming in, Sad Boyd from coming in too quickly. So he's trying to stop his momentum, but Boyd's experience obviously keeps him outside of that range. So one thing that Myukiora could do in this is use forward 4 more. Something that has a bit more range and some safe mid, that allows him to sort of also keep Boyd out at about the same range, rather than using down back 4, which has a shorter reach. That's one thing that you could do in that particular scenario. outside of that, it looked like it was a little bit harder for him to sort of get in, because it's watching the match, it looks like he was a little bit intimidated by what Boyd was doing with his taunt dashes and his movement and stuff like that. But outside of that, it looked like he was sort of warming up. This looks like it may be his first match or something like that, so it's taking a bit of time to sort of get used to it. Moving into the second match, hopefully Myukiora has gotten a little bit of, I guess, less nerves. Hopefully he's warmed up a little bit, and hopefully he's able to actually play a bit more fluidly. Because I know that he practices some wave dash, practices movement with Jin fairly frequently, because it was one of the characters he's first picked up, and he tried to do it in Tekken Tag 2 before Tekken 7 came out on PC, on PlayStation and PC. Good keep out with back 4. Again, stepped with the down back 4, but this is where Boyd's experience clearly shows. He's stepping when he feels that Myukiora is going to do a move. He's attempting to attack when he feels that Myukiora is going to attack, so he doesn't get any count. Misses the combo because his execution. Again, this is where like the hours in practice mode sort of gets used to it. Gets you better. Because you get used to doing, essentially you build up your own mechanical skill and ensure that you can prevent yourself from messing up your combos. Now, one thing that I would like to see Myukiora doing here a bit more, that was actually quite nice, because it's a move that is not used very often, so it's caught Boyd off guard. One thing that I would like to see Myukiora do a bit more is actually use back 2-1 as a keep out rather than down back 4. Because back 2-1 has a really good range, safe, -9. Back to it's also hit confirmable, but that back 2-1, definitely a good move to use, especially when trying to keep him out. And also forward 4, which is Jin's mid kick, would be really good to use as keep out as well, because it ensures that you're keeping Brian at a distance where you could forward 2. You could also forward 4, get a counter hit, or you could do like a wave dash electric or something like that to be able to do it, right? So I think forward, so that forward 4 would be really good. Learning how to do the cancel, or not even going into the cancel afterwards, would be a really good option. You don't see any sort of retaliation from Boyd at the moment. He's controlling the match quite clearly, stepping, walking around him very, very easily. So I think this is clearly just where Boyd's experience is sort of surpassing Dylan's. I would like to see Dylan use more tracking moves as well, because you can see that Boyd is actually just stepping, just without worry, because he sees that Dylan is only doing linear moves. So he's doing he's doing down forward 1-2, down forward 1-4. Sorry, he's trying to do forward 2, but he's going into dragon stance to do it first. So it's actually causing him to step back and then realign by pressing forward then 2. So that's one thing that you could do. Harder to step that way, but I would like to see him use standing 4, or even crouch dash 3 if he actually starts getting those crouch dashes in there as well. Good block. Down hit combo, so Boyd gets free damage. Good block again.
Oh, nice.
It was a nice. So that was a timing. You see that Boyd's full crouch down forward 4 was a little bit slower than what Dylan was expecting, so it caught him when he was trying to jab him at that point. Good combo. He actually got that secondary combo, so hell sweep combo, so it looks like he was getting used to it again. Again, this looks like he's trying to get warmed up, and you can see that his backdash is advancing, but it's not where like pro levels are at, obviously, because he hasn't obviously been playing for a long time. So having a look, looks like Boyd has a pretty good read on Dylan's timing, knowing when he's about to come in. What he'll do is he'll wait for a moment, see that Dylan is about to attack, and then press a button instead, some sort of counter hit. This is one thing that Brian is very good at, is the counter hit combos. A lot of his moves lead to a counter hit. See there, and this actually punishes a lot of people for playing aggressively, because it essentially prevents them from pressing a lot of buttons on their own. So, counter hit. Ooh. Hey, almost. A better punish there. Good hold, because he didn't actually, he fell for it last time, but he didn't fall for it this time, which is nice. Think this will hit? Nice, excellent. So this is actually a really good combo. It looks like he's practiced this a little bit, which is nice. All he needs to do is hopefully win this round. He doesn't... Ooh, nice. That was... Okay, so that was pretty good. He mixed up his timing. You can see that Boyd went for the down back 4. Dylan moved back and then moved forward with CDS stance a couple of times. And sort of changed up his timing to prevent that from happening. So, good round. Hasn't fallen for that twice yet. Down forward to 3, I think it is. That was because it hit, but previously on block, Dylan's no longer pressing a button, so he's actually adapting to it. Boyd's barrage of lows, obviously.
Damn it.
Getting onto Dylan's gameplay. It's stopping him from being able to do stuff because he doesn't block low very often, or he chooses not to duck in those scenarios. So I think that's one of the things where you have to get used to it and actually get used to. So again, hopefully Dylan is able to adjust. Sees Boyd stepping a lot, so he should be using standing 4 a lot more. He should also try and advance with a crouch dash 3. So if he feels that he can duck and then do it while standing 3, because that'll actually allow him to catch a lot of counter hits. Nice step back. Down 1, I don't know why he did that. Back 2, he's starting to use that a bit more, but it looks like he doesn't know the range for it. If he figures out the range for it and gets the optimal range for... Ooh, nice hell sweep. If he figures out the optimal range for it, he'll be able to actually keep out a lot more people. That was pretty good. That was it caught him and prevented him from getting hit by that. Boyd's probably going to... Ooh, nice. Can hit low. Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Damn it.
Nice. Okay, so Boyd read that Dylan was going to be trying to advance because he had an attack. He had an advantage, so Boyd used the Rage Art and essentially allowed himself to get hit a little bit because there wouldn't be a move that would do enough damage for Jin to be able to beat a Rage Art at that point. So I think that was a really good choice from Boyd. And Dylan could have, like, if Dylan had a bit more experience, probably could have read that a little bit better and dashed in, but then held back. That would have allowed him to go ahead and punish the Rage Art as necessary in order to allow himself to win. You can see here, actually... Oh, I don't know if I can go back. Can I just back a little bit? How do I skip back? Cool. Do that twice. Do it 3 times. Cool, here we go. That's too far. This is round 2. You'll see Boyd pushes Dylan towards the wall with a running 3. Knocks him there. Now you'll actually see that Boyd backdashes to try and get out of those ranges in a sec. And the reason that he does that is because he knows that Dylan's using down back 4 to do a lot of steps. That was a really good backdash right there. And that doing something like that is actually really smart because he knows that Dylan's going to go for something other than forward 4, which could have caught him. Dylan chose to go for a hop kick because he was getting desperate and wanted to actually try and knock up and do a little bit of damage to him. So that was definitely a good choice from Boyd, and I think Dylan could learn from that from the next time by using moves that advance further rather than using our forward 4. See if he does it again this time. No? Okay, tries to go for a power crush, down forward 2. Nice. Okay, cool. There you go. Messes the combo up, which is unfortunate. Had enough life to be able to do a power crush and ultimately take that round. So I think overall that was actually pretty good in terms of a showing. Not necessarily a bad thing. It just meant that Dylan is still in the mindset that he has to try and get an advantage by attacking and moving forward. When that's not necessarily the case, you can actually get an advantage by moving away from your opponent because then it's their choice to come into you. You can try and read their timing and be able to beat whatever they're doing. In that sense, so it's a really good idea to be able to know when to balance and when not to balance. That's one thing. But I think, as I said, the gameplay is fairly similar through all of these, where Dylan is not using tracking moves very often, or moves that track to Jin's left, because Boyd is stepping to his right frequently. So he should read that and do more down forward ones, try and stop that. You can see there he stepped to his left just a little bit to try and avoid some stuff, but Dylan did a down forward one to actually do that, so that was really good. In terms of keep out, it still doesn't look like Dylan's trying to do much in terms of using forward 4. Instead, he's probably using down back 4. Yeah, he's still using down back 4. I think it's because he gets hit by that move a lot, so what'll happen is he thinks that that's a good move and he'll be able to use it. But I think he should be using more forward 4 at that range, because that should be able to tip range, which will mean it'll cause a block stun on Void and prevent him from being able to come in. And it then resets the game to neutral. A lot of damage from Void. 2-1, okay. Nice. Yeah, nice. Great combo from Dylan right there. Good counter hit down back 4. Good block, but he doesn't punish it. Yeah, bit of free damage there, which is good. But obviously not the optimal damage. So again, I think that comes down to experience, being able to pick up and knowing what moves to do in order to get a good combo. You can see that... Ooh, no punish. But you can see that Boyd is still stepping to Dylan's left. Yeah, Dylan's left. So he's still sidestepping right, but Dylan still isn't doing anything to sort of get around that. You can then see Boyd's timing just before. He reads when Dylan is about to move in and just does 2-4 repeatedly. This entire set is just 2-4, 2-4, dash in 2-4 or 1-4. Yeah. So he's trying to read that timing, and he's reading it quite well because Dylan's like, okay, there's a pause, it's neutral, I'm gonna go in. Right, and what happens is then Boyd goes, I'm going to go in with a 1-4 because I can try and counter hit him with that and get that. See there, counter hit again. He didn't press a button that time because he got hit by it the first time. So this is actually good on Dylan's part, being able to actually block a lot of that. Brian, ooh, nice duck. I barely ducked that, so I think that was actually really good. Maybe it was because he was expecting it, or maybe not. But I think that's the only thing you can do. Quarter circle back 2-3. Quarter circle back 2-4. There's only one option after that, so that's a good opportunity to duck. Nice. Nice electric. No punish on that, which is unfortunate. Nice. He's doing that a lot. That was a good grab. It was a command grab, so it made it harder for Boyd to block. Not the correct combo, but I think... ooh, did while standing 3 that time. You can see here that Dylan is learning to adapt a little bit, and it's actually getting a little bit better. So obviously this might help with, not necessarily everyone, but it might help with Dylan and some of the newer audiences. Is that in this situation, you can see that Boyd is controlling it a lot by reading when Dylan is going to come in. That's how he's getting a lot of the count hits.
Damn it! No!
You can hear Dylan getting quite frustrated at that because he's being read and he knows it. And the thing is, like, if you actually try and think a step ahead of your opponent, you may be able to actually prevent that from happening. Because you go, okay, so last time I was on an advantage, I attacked and Boyd did a rage art. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dash in, see if he does a rage art, and then hopefully he does, in which case then I can punish it, instead of simply going in and trying to punch, trying to attack and get some damage in. Now doing this will allow him to go ahead and, I guess, gain an advantage, because then he'll actually be able to win that match. Because he's close to the end, it becomes a less panicky situation, because he's thinking maybe 2 steps ahead. But that's one of the things that you need to try and remember is that being able to do that allows you to gain the advantage on people, and you'll advance faster. So that's definitely one of those things that you can actually do. Moving into this particular match, we've only got a little bit of time left, so I might... but I mean, that was a lot of information. One of Boyd's best characters is Brian, his other being Shaheen. I haven't actually seen his Mishmas, so we might actually have a look at this. But that was actually a pretty good set. You could see Dylan trying to adapt, but Boyd's experience sort of outshining that. So definitely one of those situations where experience sort of overrules mechanical ability. And even then, Dylan's mechanical ability is still pretty new, so he's still getting used to it. Good low parry, because you could see that he was probably going to go for a low. Trying to catch him out with some lows. Nice block on that one, but he didn't punish it correctly, unfortunately. So this again comes down to experience, being able to punish correctly and when you need to, in order to actually advance your character or advance your skills. It's alright combo. He says it was scuffed, but it was okay.
Fuck, damn it.
That's your rage drive. So I think here again, experience sort of outweighs it. If you probably got a situation where Dylan was trying to play at a higher level, which I think he is, because he's not actually pressing a lot of buttons. He's pressing only a few buttons to sort of get around a few things and sort of, you know, get into Boyd. But Boyd's reading his timing quite well, which is preventing him from being able to get in effectively. Dylan's only been playing for a short period of time, so his character knowledge is low, his execution may be beginner, but you can see that obviously he's actually understanding some of the concepts of the game that we all love, Tekken. So moving forward, I'll see if I can actually... He says that he played Josie a little bit. Let's just skip a lot of this, because this is just Jin and Devil Jin. Which, while very interesting... Okay, we're a little bit further into the match. Let's have a look. I don't know how many games... Oh! Looks like Myukiora actually won one. Which is actually quite good. So let's go back. We can see he's now using standing 4. Catch sidestepping. That was a good punish. Punish up forward. Again. L sweeps. The wall.
Shit.
It's the third hit. Actually, what we might do is we'll go back a little bit. I want to end with this because I want to see what Dylan did in order to actually win that game. Okay, here we go. Good reads. No punish on that. Nice jab punish, but nothing more. Nice. Saw that he was going to go for a low, so he decided to do a mid instead. That was a really good option. I think Myukiora is sort of learning to adapt to Boyd's timing a little bit. Nice. See, now he's using back 2-1 to punish as well, so that's actually quite nice. Counter hit. Reading the timing a little bit better. Not great still, but it's getting better, which is good. Nice hell sweep. The wall combo. Down 1, a bit of a slow mid.
Ah. Yikes.
Not bad, not bad. So it looks like Boyd is trying to adapt. We'll find out if Dylan can take this round. Obviously he wins eventually. I don't know if it's this round or the next one. You can see there's a bit more timing in terms of change at this point.
God damn it.
Okay. Doesn't break a grab. Back 2-1 on that. Okay, cool. Let's see what he does here. No punish on the while standing 2. No punish on the 1-1-2 either. Nice back 2-1 to keep some space. Light wave dashes. It doesn't look like he can do it consistently just yet, but he's getting used to being able to do it. So hopefully, as time goes on, he becomes better at doing the wave dash motion and actually successfully gets there. 2-1 again. Safe. Nice. 1-1-2 catching him. Good block on the spring get up kick. The nice hell sweep. Down back 4 counter hit. So he saw the run. Missed it.
Punish.
Catches him with the down 4 to sort of end that round. Sees the actual spacing. Now, he could have done a down 4. He could have done a down back 4. He could have also done a forward 4. Because that all was in range at that point. So what we'll do is we'll end it there. Because you can see that I think when it comes to it, Boyd's experience sort of outshines it, but Dylan was starting to adapt towards the end. So one of the things that I would have liked to see said is more tracking moves to sort of counteract Boyd's tracking there, but also learning the space for back 2-1. If he's playing Jin main, he should learn the space for back 2-1. He should learn the space for forward 4, and he should also learn the space for forward 2. We'll be able to use forward 2 instead of back 1 forward 2, which is the crouching dragon stance into thing. So just before we finish it up, I'll quickly bring that up again. So just as a final note, as I said, great to warm up beforehand. As you saw, that Dylan's movement was very stiff to start off with, but towards the end he was getting better, which is a really, really good sign. It's obviously him trying to improve at that point. Moving into the actual matches, a lot of the time he was getting caught out because he was running in and trying to do something. And that's one of the things that a lot of people will try to do at the lower levels is you'll run in, press a button, run in, press a button, because you want to try and gain that advantage. You want to gain those plus frames. You want to do anything like that. So one thing that you can do is, I'll quickly do it now, is run in and not do anything.
Welcome to the King of Iron, Jin Kazama. Devil Jin.
Run in and not doing anything. So, right here.
Get ready for the next battle.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so finishing off, a couple of things that I would have liked to see Myukiora do in this particular case, in order to try and beat out his opponents, are these things. So understanding the range of back 2-1. So back 2-1, you can see whiffs there, hits there. So at this range, not good. But if you hit back 2-1, that's still safe. So that's too far. That's okay. That's okay. So you can be about here. So it's got a huge range. Huge range. Back 2-1, -9. If you're this far, no use. No use, right? If you're here, back 2-1. Huge range. Able to put you on -9. So you're safe even if it gets blocked. It's difficult to step. And it ensures that the opponent essentially doesn't move, right? Or you can be here, back 2-1 both here. Guaranteed normal or unnormal hit. One thing else as well is forward 4. You can see here it's a little bit far, but if you're about here, right? So range 1, so this is range 0, this is range 1, right? The range 1, if your opponent is trying to get in, you go to about range 1.5. So 1.5. So and that's 2, range 2. So range 2 even hits, right? So you can actually be at range 2 and use forward 4 just as spot check, right? Prevent the person from coming in and doing that, right? And then from here you can also do forward 2. This realigns, right? Because the forward realigns. if you just do forward 4, easily step to the Jin's left. So you side step right, you'll cause that to whiff. But if you do a forward 2, not forward 2, but forward 2, this actually realigns. As long as you delay it a little bit. So I'll let's jab. Oops. Let's try again. Jab step. Okay. Jab step. Let's play. Yeah. Easily step, right? Jab. Also step, right? If you get the block, do it a little bit slower, you can see that it realigns. It's not a punish, but it catches them. So being able to actually do that, instead of going jab, mashing forward 4, you can see that it whiffs. Jab, bit of a slower forward 2, forward 2. Right, this is what Boyd was doing, jabbing and stepping. You can jab, standing 4, catches him stepping. Jab, standing 4, catches him stepping. Then one more, jab, duck, while standing 3, catches him stepping. Things like that will allow Dylan to improve. Down forward 1 as well, if he sees him stepping to one side, catch him with the down forward 1. Right? Okay. So we'll end it there, but hopefully that helps. Hopefully that helps people, I guess, as I said, with a warm-up, with practicing reactions, getting used to being able to duck lows, and then ultimately helping Dylan, who's one of my friends from work, get better at being able to actually attack at the right time. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be a little bit better. Because if we can get it a little bit better, then ultimately he's going to improve, and that's what we're aiming for. Anyway, we'll end it there. It's just been over an hour, so I appreciate all of your time, and hopefully somebody has learned something. Even if it wasn't watching the VOD, hopefully it might just be Dylan that watches the VOD to actually improve, or maybe it's some of the newer people to sort of get used to being able to play some of the, play some of their opponents. If they're finding that they're getting stuck at a certain level or a lower level, knowing that you can actually see some of these things will actually help. But ultimately, if you actually practice, do the warm-up practice that I showed that Alchemist's game, it's actually a really good way to get better at movement, and ducking certain strings, and it's also a really good way to make sure that you're actually punishing and blocking the lows, which are some of the biggest things at the lower ranks, where you will get hit by a lot of lows, and then you cause that to obviously become frustrated and lose sight. So you can get used to doing that. At least you'll get used to seeing some of the slower lows. You'll see the animation, or see an animation that looks like a low, and be able to duck it, ultimately being able to start causing you to win those matches, because then you can launch punish a lot of those slower lows. But that'll be it for me. Thanks very much for tuning in. I appreciate it once again. I hope everyone had a good time. Please go ahead and actually let me know if you want me to talk about anything in particular each week. Chuck it into the Australian Tekken community Facebook. Post it on my previous VOD. Chuck it in the comments, because I really do need to actually obviously try and increase Australia's Tekken game. We're doing it slowly but surely, but I want more and more people to actually jump in. So if you want to learn anything, or you want me to cover anything in detail, please bring it up, and I will go ahead and cover it in detail. If you want a character covered, please let me know, and I'll go ahead and do that. Chuck it into the comments below, chuck it into the Twitch chat, whatever you want to do. Make sure you let me know what you want me to cover, and I will try and cover it for you as much as I can, in order to actually allow you to get better and better at this game, because I love this game, I love the community, and I love being able to compete and actually see everyone. So hopefully I see all of you at your IeSF qualifiers, and I'll be watching the streams, and I'll be making sure that obviously I tune into as many of them as possible, and I look forward to watching you guys succeed, do as best as you can. Hopefully the grand finals are going to be epic, regardless of who is in it. I want to see everyone fight their hardest and actually try and win, because that'll be sick to be able to get a free trip to Sydney, free trip overseas to Chinese Taipei, and hopefully bringing back the gold for Australia. It's a difficult ride, but it is well worth it. You'll make a lot of friends, you'll make a lot of contacts, and you'll play a goddamn lot of Tekken. So anyway, peace out. Thanks very much.